All right, I'm back for another album review, my second of today and my third of the weekend so far. I'm planning to do at least one more after this as well because there have been some pretty big artists releasing albums over this weekend, and so far, what I've heard from these artists has been pretty awesome. So I am looking forward to doing these reviews. So this next review, anyway, without further ado, is Escape of the Phoenix by Evergrey, released on AFM Records just yesterday. The album is about 59 minutes in length and 11 tracks. And it's in follow up to the last album I reviewed just earlier today, which I thought was outstanding. This is another pretty impressive album to get on the prog metal train with. And Evergrey here have been true to form. I think they seem to really deliver an album which is in any way, remotely disappointing. This is a really good release by them. I think I enjoyed The Atlantic. I'm also a fan of Evergrey through the years, going back to albums like I think it's The Dark Discovery, and some of their albums like that. From I think going back as far as the 90s even. They've been around for quite a long time, Evergrey. And a real feature of Evergrey's strength are Tom England's vocals. He's clean. I don't think I've ever heard him do harsh vocals, but they're just entirely just gorgeous, really melodic, really in tune, really fantastically strong vocals. And sometimes in tracks I've heard from Evergrey before, where they're even just him and a piano, are still great tunes. Something that Evergrey do incredibly well are their ballads, but this album shows they're also really good at some up-tempo and heavier, faster tracks. But they just managed to pull them off with that sense of melody and longing and beauty in each track that they do, I think. And the whole band are pretty impressive here. One thing I did like in this album was the use of the keyboards and the synth as well. I thought that was often really good. A track which exemplifies this well would be the single, actually, Where August Mourns. There was really good use of synth in that song, which was kept up with the tempo and the beat of the track really well, and thoroughly enjoyed that single. But to talk a bit about the rest of the album and some other highlights as well. The opener was a pretty heavy, rollicking one. I enjoyed stories with some of the twinning up of the guitar solos in this song, I think it was. And there was some really good tapping on, being a guitarist myself, I appreciate the skill in tapping guitar solos and tapping them in time. And there's a really good harmonised one of those in this song. Quite liked the piece with James LaBrie from Dream Theater, and there were a couple of tracks in the second half of the album that I really, really enjoyed as well. I think it was Laden Saints, and the last track was pretty cool, but I don't know actually if I liked the last track as much, to be honest. I just said it was pretty cool, but it maybe didn't sort of, I don't know if it was as good a finale as it could have been, although I did like the slightly wavy synths, again using the synths to good strength, that came right at the end of the track, and that was quite a neat little finish. But as a whole, I wasn't as sure I enjoyed the last track as much as some of the rest of the album. On the whole, this is another good outing by Evergrey. It's a really solid release by them. I think if I were to score this album, I would give this one an 8 out of 10. Certainly a very, very high 7, if not an 8. This was a strong release, again, as I said at the very beginning, by Evergrey, using Evergrey's great strengths, I think, but this time showing that Evergrey can do the heavier stuff really well as their lighter, more kind of, I don't want to say poppy so much as just, really melodic and a cleaner variety of their music. There was obviously something slightly different. I think was they dropped the tuning slightly lower for some of these songs. That did give them a bit of kind of, almost in places I felt a touch of djent, but Maybe that's just me, but I felt with the drop tuning that far and some of the lower variations in rhythms, there were some interesting rhythms going on in a couple of the tracks. I think the track I'm thinking of was the Dandelion Cipher, where I felt like there was almost borderline gent going on in that track. But hey, it's another good release and another album which hasn't disappointed. This one has met, possibly slightly even gone just slightly above my expectations as well, I think, and I'm pleased to report that. So today, two really good albums. One I would say, I mean I don't know how to correct. I'm not sure I pronounced their name correctly earlier today. Earton or Ireton, whether actually that is even the right way of either of those ways are the right way of saying their name. I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, two great albums I've heard today, and I have a feeling that the next one I'm about to sort of cover is going to be, pretty good from what I've heard of it so far as well, if not another great release. So I'm very much looking forward to doing that. Anyway, time's up for this review. Thanks very much for joining me again, and I will see you for the next one, probably tomorrow. Take care.